This caps off a fabulous fortnight for us here in Victoria with no new cases for the 14 days, as you mentioned, no new deaths either, so our death toll remains at 819. Significantly, it also means that our 14-day rolling average for metropolitan Melbourne obviously is now at zero. That's the first time it's been like that since this deadly second wave began, and it puts us in line with regional Victoria as well. We have just 3 active cases across metropolitan Melbourne and only 1 mystery case for the past fortnight, because that's a slightly lagging indicator, so that should drop off at some stage soon. And the Premier also says that we've had a truly impressive testing numbers that we've seen over the past few days. Most of the time it's been around the 20,000 mark. Yesterday's tests that were received back was just over 12,000. So he says that gives us a really strong confidence that if there was some significant problem out there for coronavirus, that we would have found it by now. However, he does say that it is potentially smouldering and there is still the real risk prospect that there could be transmission out there, so we have to remain on our guard.
So, Steph, what's the latest on the easing of restrictions in the state?
Yeah, so obviously we have the 14 days, which is a whole incubation period for the virus, which is great that we've seen no new cases. It was also that 14-day rolling average was the original trigger point under our first roadmap, which is when we were supposed to be able to take the last step before COVID normal out of restrictions. Now, that has actually been amended and the state government is still sticking with its plan to delay that slightly until midnight on the 22nd of November. They're things like allowing public gatherings of up to 50 people outdoors and further easing of restrictions for hospitality, 100 people indoors and 200 in outdoor seating, for example. But the Premier says it's still really important to remain cautious and safe, and he says too much is at stake to be able to start changing the guidelines now.
I'd love to be able to make all sorts of announcements today about all the rules coming off. That would not be smart. That would essentially betray all the sacrifice that so many people have made. But next Sunday, we'll be able to on the 22nd, we'll be able to, I'm very confident we'll be able to take the steps that we foreshadowed last week and also give Victorians a bit of a sense of what that COVID normal Christmas is going to look like.
And Steph, the head of the Health Department has left her job.
Yes, so Kim Peake, the department head of the Health and Human Services Department, has chosen not to renew her 5-year contract, which was due to lapse this week. The Premier pointedly said that this wasn't her resigning, but just choosing not to apply for an extension. He did say that if she had have done that, then they would have looked at it. Of course, we did hear from her during the evidence into that independent hotel inquiry, and she came up for a lot of criticism, suggesting that it shouldn't just be her department that should take the blame for Victoria's deadly second wave. The council assisting did say that the health department was responsible for the quarantine program where the virus managed to get out of quarantine and get seeded within the community. Now, he does say that he's not going to comment on whether or not it was appropriate that she left her job. She simply has chosen to go off and do other things, and he thanked her for the work that she'd done and wished her well. The final report into that inquiry is due 4 days before Christmas, and that's when we're expected to get more details from the former Judge Jennifer Coate, just how this could have happened, who was to blame, which department was responsible, and potentially who made that critical decision to use security guards as well. But the Premier does say that the predecessor to Kim Peake, Ewan Wallace, is somebody he's known for a very long time, and he believes that he will do an outstanding job in the role.